And what's the message?
Axe the tax! Axe the tax! Axe the tax!
That's it. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Could we have a few people over there come around this to the centre? We want to see all your faces, and everyone all across Australia needs to see all of you out there telling the government that we have to axe the tax.
Axe the tax! Axe the tax!
So I'm Australian, and I love Australia. And if Kevin Rudd is wondering why his popularity is being smashed, he should look no further than this fantastic gathering of working Australians here today. Mr. Rudd, when you are threatening to rip off working families by slugging a massive new tax on the engine room of this economy, a tax which will cost thousands of jobs all around the country in virtually every industry and in every corner of every community, you can hardly be surprised when we all stand up and we say, no more! No more! Prime Minister, strangling our mining industry will mean thousands and thousands of Australian jobs will be lost, and thousands of others simply won't be created. This is the industry that has kept Australia in great shape as the rest of the world has crumbled. When you cut the wealth generated in mining, you cut the lifeblood of the Australian economy. And when you cut the blood of the economy, you destroy the fabric of our society. You damage the Australia's ability to provide world-class health services, and you make it difficult, really difficult, to create a great education system that we so desperately need to create the smart and aspirational country that we want to be. And you rob the elderly, the sick and the frail of the most vulnerable things, the indignity of it all. Mr. Prime Minister, your flawed new mining tax will inflict huge damage on the very people you claim it will help, the working families of Australia. And it was working families in Australia, it was working families that bestowed upon you the privilege to lead our country. And now you're promising to betray those people. Shame, shame, shame. The damage of this tax is going to be savage. It will mean the mining industry will deliver lower returns, making us uncompetitive and less attractive. And this means less investment, and that means less jobs, and that means less taxes that they will ultimately collect. And that means the government will not get by. So, Mr. Prime Minister, you need to drop this tax, to start again, engage with the mining industry and come up with something that works. So, Mr. Prime Minister, your tax is an axe. It is an axe on thousands and thousands of jobs all around Australia. And if you insist on bringing down the axe on working families, we will not stand by. We will fight. We love Australia. We want a great Australia. Let us make it as great as it can be. We are many and we will make our voices heard. Yes. We love Australia and we will fight. So we have a few more speakers, and next up, ladies and gentlemen, someone who I've had a few tussles with over the years, and I'm probably going to have a few more. I'd like to welcome to the microphone Andrew Forrest from Forrest Metal Group.
family, of fellow miners, fellow Australians, can I just say a very heartfelt thank you so much for coming today. Please give yourselves a big hand. This is a much bigger crowd than certainly I expected. The good news is it's a much bigger crowd than Kevin Rudd expected. I will have the joy of speaking to Prime Minister Rudd within the next 24 hours. What particular message should I give him?
Extra tax! Extra tax! Extra tax! Extra tax! Extra tax! Extra tax!
Okay. Well, look, I think Kevin vocabulary will stretch to that, and I think his hearing will make it as well. But I would say this to you all. Up in this building behind me is a little office which started with only 2 people and now employs 3,000 people, which are the breadwinners for now 3,000 families. Like your businesses, like your companies, like your own jobs, the hopes and aspirations of fellow Australians are pinned on you and pinned on your ability to have a prosperous career and your ability to get a fair day's work for a fair day's pay and not be ripped off halfway through the game. And so I now share with you that in China right now, there's a furious debate going about how they can lower their resource tax so they can encourage their mining industry. In Australia, there's a furious debate going about how they can raise their tax to discourage their mining industry. I ask you, which communist is turning capitalist and which capitalist country is turning communist? We of course represent so much more than mining. We represent the hopes and the dreams of thousands and millions of people who depend on the mining industry, depend on the resource sector for a strong Australian economy. In the years and generations past, it wasn't always the way. In generations past, Australia rode, and thank God, on the sheep's back. What would have happened if we asked all the farmers of Australia to suddenly pay 40% of their normal profits? Would they be here? Would our industry, which feeds us today, still be here? No! Then exactly the same will happen here. Fellow miners, fellow Australians, I absolutely delight in the fact you've all turned out. I'm very grateful to you. This day is about your opportunity to change Australia's history from where Kevin Rudd would take it, a largely socialist distribution of capital over creation of value, a largely flat, one-speed, slow economy, which you, through your participation today, will stop. You will create not the one-speed, slow economy, but the one-speed, fast economy where Australia competes, and successfully, on the international stage, as we have always done before Kevin Rudd. Thank you.